This video was brought to you by Indently.io, learning Python made simple. How's it going, everyone? In today's video, I'm going to be covering a topic that's quite common in Python, and that's using the asterisk to unpack iterables. Now, the reason I'm making this video is because around 75% of you got my latest quiz wrong. Although, to be fair, around 1/3 of you did understand what it should return, but answered with the wrong data type. Anyway, let's talk about this asterisk unpacking syntax because it can be quite useful when you understand how it actually works. So for this example, we're going to create a tuple of people, and that's going to contain an arbitrary amount of strings, which will contain Bob, Ben, Brian, not Brain, Brian, Bro, who doesn't have a name, and Brad. Now imagine you want to retrieve the first element and the last element of this iterable. Well, one way you could do this is by typing in first and last and assigning it the values of people at the index of 0 and people at the index of -1. Now this is always going to print the first and last person. As you can see, once we run this, we're going to get Bob and Brad back. And what's convenient about this approach is that we can literally put the names in any order, and we will still get the correct first and last element. But now let me show you how we can do this using that asterisk syntax. So what we're going to do here is remove all of this and just insert people, which by itself doesn't make any sense. But now what we can do here is add an asterisk and underscore. Conventionally, we use an underscore for variables that we do not care about, or in other words, we can call this a throwaway variable because we do not plan to use that data later. Just by doing that, we're still going to get the first and last element, which is going to be Bob and Bro. Because what we're saying here is that we want to grab the first element and to ignore everything in between and then to grab the last element. And what's cool about this is that we can also do something such as second to last, and then we can print that along with the other variables. So now we'll get Bob, Brad, and Bro, which is quite cool. And we can actually flip this around to grab either the first two people or the last two people. And to do so, let's start with the first two people, so we can say first and second, and then we use the asterisk underscore to ignore the rest and take the values from people. Now with this, we can print first and second, and what we should get back is Bob and Ben. So those are the first two elements. If we want to do it the other way around, we can grab that and just change these two, second to last and last. Then we're just going to grab these two and print them, and what you should get as a result is Brad and Bro. And at this point, I still didn't show you what the underscore contains, because I've only been using it as a throwaway variable. But to make this easier to understand, we're going to remove all of this, and instead of having a throwaway variable, we're going to type in first, asterisk middle, and last. Because once again, this is going to absorb all the values in between the first variable and the last variable, which means now if we were to print first, middle, and last, it's going to give you back the following: Bob, and then the list of Ben, Brian, and Brad, because that's what's in between. This will return a list back to you, not a tuple. And that's something that confuses a lot of people, because intuitively you would think, okay, here we have a tuple, it should return back to us a tuple. But that is not the case. It's going to return to us a list 100% of the time, regardless of what type of iterable it ends up being. So this is always going to absorb the remaining values. And that also means that we can provide another variable such as second. And when we print that, what we're going to get is Bob, Ben, and these values are going to be absorbed by the middle variable, because those were not specified in the assignment. But let's take a look at one more example. And this time we're going to use some numbers, because everybody loves numbers. And that's just going to be a list of integer. And here we can just use, I guess, autocomplete, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And down here, what we're going to do is type in other and add y and z, and that's going to equal numbers. Now with that, we can print other, y, and z. And when we run this, what we should get back in the console is the list of 1, 2, and 3, and then 4 and 5. The asterisk variable will always absorb the elements until it arrives to the point where a variable is specified. So here we have 5, which means it's going to absorb the first 3. And since the last 2 variables here were specified, those 2 are going to absorb 4 and 5. And I'm going to add a few numbers here. So 5, 6, and 7. Because for the final example, I want to show you that you can also grab the first 2 elements, the middle elements, and the last 2 elements, just by using this syntax over here. So A, B, other, Y, and Z. And if we were to print that, what we're going to get back is 1, 2, then the list of 3, 4, and 5, because that's what's in between, and then 6 and 7. So as you can see, this isn't rocket science. It's very easy to use once you understand how it actually works. Anyway, that's really all I wanted to cover in today's video. I just wanted to clear this up because, again, according to my latest quiz, it looked like a lot of people didn't really understand how this actually works. And when people don't understand how something works, they start to say silly things such as that this is too complex for Python, that it breaks PEP20, that it shouldn't be a part of Python. And the only thing I can say to that is that this is not complex in any way. It takes literally a couple of minutes to learn and then you will know it for life. It can be quite useful when you understand how it works, and it's by no means hard to read when you know what's going on. But I'd really like to hear what you think about this in the comment section down below, and whether you have any more questions regarding it. But otherwise, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.